let's go ahead and introduce our first presenter, who I'm really excited about because he happens to be the program chair for the Rotary Club of Lamorinda Sunrise, which is my home club. Do you think putting effort toward making your Rotary programs memorable is worth it? When you go, wow, after a speaker, does it bring a smile to your face? And if every speaker had members talking for days afterward, would it add just a little more glue to your club? Our keynote speaker was lucky to have some wise people give him some great tips and strategies that will help you approach this Rotary utopia. I can tell you from personal experience, since this Rotarian has been the program chair for Lamorinda Sunrise for nearly all of the past 10 years, he is fearless, he is ambitious, he just really knows how to provide programs that for our club and for others have been really exciting, innovative, and produced a lot of those wow moments. So please welcome from the Rotary Club of Lamorinda Sunrise, Buddy Burke.
I don't know how to make this part smooth. I don't know, but here we go. All right, yeah, Mark, thanks a lot. Do you think are nice, really good, memorable, consistent programs, is it really worth the time to put an effort into programs? What do you think? Is it? And by all means, would it add any cohesion if you said, wow, we got one every week that you look forward to? So what we'd like to do is talk about that a little bit, get your opinions on it, and then go from there. Does that sound pretty good? I want to get it so I can actually see more people. There. So that's what we're going to do. And so if you would, come with me for just a minute. Back when I was new to the club, and I was attending as a member, and I remember we had speakers like real estate salesmen. We had speakers like, the bathtub salesman actually, selling stuff. Lots of financial planners, and I thought, well, maybe this is what Rotary does. We're a public service to help out local businesses. But I said, well, to me, nothing against those folks that do that, but is that really a program? So I thought about it, and like I said, some wonderful people helped me along the way, and it's not wanting to advance. So I said, let's kick this up a little bit. They asked me to be program chair. I got shuttled into the position. I started asking people, well, what do you do? What do you do? And I started getting all this information about, well, what you need to do is contact all these other clubs, see who they have. And somebody even gave me a list of all these salespeople and such that they said, you need to talk to them and ask other Rotarians who they would get, who could do that. And it got confusing. I got confused. I got stressed out. And I'm just going to say this, that this does not want to advance, but here we go. So that's what we had. This is what we had. I got shuttled in, and a very wise Rotarian, I'm not going to tell you who she is, but let's just say she gave me a lot of clarity on the subject. She said, please yourself. And I thank her so much, and that resonated with me. It was the best advice I ever got. So I got selfish. I said, I'm going to please myself. It's going to be speakers that I like, pleasing me, because it gets too stressful, too confusing. So how did I go about that, and what's a good way to do it? And after quite a lot of trial and error, I came with a little pattern that I hope you will find interesting. Right now, I honestly love it. I have so much fun. Grabbing speakers, it's a hoot. Anybody you want to meet, they're there. And I said, wow, she'd be awesome to talk to. And I do get excited each Friday. So in the next 21 minutes, here's what I can tell you. You've got good news and bad news. The good news is, of course, there are only 3 things out of all this experience that you're going to need to know. And you're going to leave here with these 3 things, which are tools that will help you have great speakers if my practice is correct. Bad news is, like I said, you're going to leave here with them. You can use them immediately. Leap of faith. It's going to take a leap of faith to do this. If you want to elevate them and make them exciting for yourself, make them exciting for your club. A little scary. So, okay, what are the three things? First thing you got to look at is, what are the three things? All you have to remember: horse and wagon, snore, and magic words. Horse and wagon, snore, and magic words. And don't take notes. Come on. Someone's taking notes. It's seductive to just react to what everybody tells you, right? Everybody says, well, what you need to do is go contact these, get a speaker there. Hey, I've got somebody. They agreed to come speak. Why don't you get them? Fill this hole. Fill this spot here. I recommend, nope, don't do that. Get your mind right, is my opinion. Flip the mentality on its head. Don't react, act, right? Think of it this way. Like this. You're in charge of pizzas for a pizza party for, say, 350 people. How do you approach that? Do you say, well, excuse me, do you react to somebody saying, you know, I like pepperoni from Patchy's. Okay, I'll call up Patchy's and get a pepperoni. Then someone else tells you, pulls you the other way and says, oh, you know what, I love those sausage pizzas from Round Table. Okay, good, I'll go order one from them. You drive yourself nuts, right? Not to be too simplistic, but look at it, speakers the same way. Do you really do that one at a time? If you're in charge of all these pizzas? And this sounds rhetorical, but it's a way to get in your head. Of course not. No, you go. You think of them in the groups, right? We could drive yourself nuts. Drive yourself nuts if you try to do that. So here's what I recommend. Don't think, got a spot here on the calendar, got to fill it. Here's another spot, let me fill that. No. Think in batches. Batches. What do I mean by that? Think of at least in terms of 3 speakers at a time. Don't contact one, contact 3 at least. Think in batches or more. Okay? Menus are all over the place. We'll get to that in a minute. So how do you get started? Physically. Okay, you got your mind the way you want it. You're thinking batches. So how do you start physically? Well, get the horse before the cart. Reverse it. Horse before the cart. You're doing the driving on this, not everybody else in your club. It's you. Please yourself, as that wonderful person advised me. So to get physical, just get the system. Start with your calendar. DACB is a wonderful tool, folks. DACB is wonderful. We've switched over to one that has a more graphic display anyway, but get a calendar, flat out, nothing else. Got to do that. Mark the open dates. You're really only going to have about 35 or so in an entire year. Governor visits, which we all love, by the way. Love governor visits. We have certain blackout dates. We do local club things once a month to feature a different club member. But mark the open dates so you can have the big view. You ever seen really good Chinese ping pong players? Where do they stand, right? Do they stand right over the net? They're back here, way back here. So they can see the overview. You got to have that. And the same, landing an airplane, George. You don't focus on the runway in front of you. You focus at the far end. So mark the open dates. Don't dare accept the job prior to 90 days. Don't even think about it. Don't accept it. Say you're on your own, guys. If you want me to do it, I'll start them because I have to have that nice big view.
Okay, I gotta go potty.
I'm sorry? Okay. Give yourself a lead, and there are many reasons for this. Trial and error, it works. Start with your first batch of speakers. Grab them from the menu. Say, oh boy, I want these 3. So you give them each, pick 3, fire off your emails, make phone calls, whatever, and offer 3 dates to each. It all goes in 3s. Doesn't matter if the dates overlap a little bit, that's perfectly fine. But it's because it's very easy to say, I'm sorry, that date's filled, but I can offer you these 2 plus 1 more. Critical. And immediately give a follow-up note. Give all the details. Plug them into the schedule, send them the follow-up note. Here's the time, the place, type of crowd. And if you want to know more about how to set that up, contact me afterwards, because it's always a work in progress, but it seems to work. So you don't have all these emails going back and two, so you have one. Tell me, what do you look for? Any ideas? What do you look for in a really good speaker? And what do you think?
You can type your feedback in the chat box, which should be located on the bottom middle of your screen.
Yeah. What do you look for? A pulse? Just think about it. Well, while you're thinking about that,
so we're starting to get some stuff in the chat box.
Great.
So entertaining, dynamic, someone with a unique experience, good presentation skills, engaging, expert in their field. Right now, the ability to use Zoom.
Very good answers.
Prepared, topical, sense of humor.
Thank you. Very good. Okay, now think there's all these different things. If we're just focused on one at a time, you're going to wind up going down the narrow path, right? Or I found myself doing that when I was trying to listen to everybody, right? You'll get this, and you'll find yourself in a rut. I look at it this way. Had a nice encounter with a baseball scout many years ago. There I was. If you'd been there with me, you'd have seen me looking dumbfounded, because he was telling me about what he looked for. And he said, I look for 5 things. He looked at me and he said, hit for power, run, catch, and throw. Hit for power, run, catch, and throw. He said, if you get 3 of these, you got a major leaguer. You get 4 of these, you got an all-star. You get 5 of these, you got Willie Mays. And I realize it's exactly what we do with speakers, right? Here's what works for me. And for Rotary speakers, you've given some good answers. Some of you tap dancing around what I consider the really top ones. And there's one that just looms above the rest. So here at Rotary, we try to keep things simple. So we look at snore. That's all you have to remember, snore. So number 1, above all, what is the single most important trait in a good speaker? What do you think? Number 1. Well, here it is. I think you're probably getting close. Can they speak? Number 1, no matter what degrees you have, no matter what sort of background you have. I'm not going to say what country, but the ambassador from a European country put everyone to sleep in 17 seconds flat. Had all this great, wonderful background, all this history, bam. Talk about snoozing. Number 1 thing, one of the most engaging speakers we ever had was a young lady with Down syndrome a few years ago. She was so engaging. She was a fabulous speaker. Okay. Next one. Notoriety, as someone pointed. Wonderful. Like, if you get someone who's been an Academy Award winner, it's not a bad deal. We find them on TV. To me, if they've gotten a lot of hits on a TED Talk, I'll consider them as a speaker if it fits our general flow of what we're having. Okay? So notoriety is good. We pulled a lot from TV, etc. And someone said originality. Ron Ahrens, get this. He wrote a book, The Jews of Sing Sing. The Jews of Sing Sing. Now, how original can you get? He was hilarious. As a matter of fact, I suggested to him, and I always tell this upcoming speakers, be snarky. We have some people in our club who think they're smarter than you are, so lay it on them thick. So go ahead. People love that dynamic when you're going on. And of course, Rotary, right? The connection to Rotary always helps, always helps. And there's certain subjects we really need to cover routinely in Rotary, so that's fine. And what we've done is we've gotten a quarterly pure Rotary talk, which I think is working out very well. And then finally, expertise, as someone brought out. We have a lot of professors, especially if they've written on a subject that narrows into an area of expertise, like everything from archaeologists who've made discoveries. We go through people who have written books on, we just had one on the giant pandas, and people tend to love that, right? It's all these things. Again, get 3 of these, you got maybe a Rotary speaker. 4 of those, you got a slam dunk. 5 of these, you got Cliff Docterman. So where do you get them, right? Just some examples. The menu's all over the place, right? And when you're thinking in batches, it's not so, just say, intimidating to contact people. Blast them out, right? That's what I do. It's just a fun. It's gotten to be such a routine. Pulled a wonderful young lady off of Nova. Watch her. She's the primate expert of Europe. She's taken over from Jane Goodall. Fascinating speaker. Pulled several off the Discovery Channel and newspapers. For example, the fellow who rode the Drake Passage. He was wonderful. He had us riveted because he was even describing the blisters on his butt and had us all going, oh my gosh, really? And it really made it graphic for us. Wonderful speaker in that. Actually, he wasn't the most dynamic deliverer, but his story was so good. But get to that later. I get a lot. Front page of the Wall Street Journal always has a section at the very bottom. Something very interesting. Almost always there. Bottom of the front page Wall Street Journal. For example, speaker on quarks, a professor from UC Berkeley. Just had this fellow from UC Irvine, Super Memories, talk on how people get these absolutely stunning memories. Remember what day of the week it was 18 years ago, the weather, what you were wearing, what they were wearing, the conversation, everything. And he really went into detail about your memories are you, kept us all riveted. I've stole several from TED Talks. This young lady had about 2.5 million hits on TED. The pioneer on remote surgery. She joined us from London, thanks to Zoom. Fun one, really fun. He came just before the virus hit, had eaten at 99 of the top 100 restaurants in the last year. He was a fascinating speaker. And of course, and I stole one from a Sunday morning TV show called The Press Here. How the music affects your mind, and she sells to, say, the Golden State Warriors, the music. She's the one that arranges it. Fabulous speaker. And I can only say they're great. We've really enjoyed them. And they're there. When you mention Rotary, it's just a great little extra icing on the cake. It's a motivator. And if Hayes Englehart recommends somebody, if George Chafee recommends somebody, or Skip, they automatically get plugged into the lineup. Of course, you get a lot of people with suggestions that really don't quite fit, but you don't have the heart to say no, but there's an answer. You put them on the standby list. And they say, not now, not now. No wow. You want the wow after each one. So here's my standby list. It works great. I keep electronically so that it's always handy. Saves you from having to panic. And I keep it in my phone so that you can, I can always reference it when somebody cancels, and good people do cancel. A few extra tips here. There's kind of a review. Always have lead time. That's for you and the speakers and everybody else. And so you're just a better strategy. These things work great. The calendars, put them all there. We got their videos on there, and we've just right now switching over. Get it all covered. Make sure you have the layout of what you really have to do. Think batches, not little particles, like the wave theory. Always get the reminder note. And we could talk a lot about the introductions. They're so important, widely overlooked. It's not just a static, our speaker went to death. But anyway, it's a slingshot, catapult. And buddyburke.net, we go into that in detail. It's all free. Don't worry about it. Variety of member-led programs. Work those in if you can. And always keep your standby list handy. Okay? So, things to avoid like the plague, right? Give you a story about somebody got too touchy-feely. She promised us an airline, the story of how an airline got started, came in, had us all hold hands and close our eyes. And I got beaten up for that for several weeks because she flat out misrepresented. So be aware, it happens. Just always be ready. And you're going to need your magic words. Da-na-na! This will happen. Get lots of advice, and you're going to find yourself, I'm a speaker snob, I admit it. But you get a lot of quote advice like this. Okay? You're going to get this kind of stuff, you're going to get bombarded. But there's an answer to all of it. Okay? Some will be even more assertive. They will see you saying that the speaker chair is going to plug you into the program. Nope, can't do that. So there are ways. Remember, Rayman, I'm a great driver. I'm a great speaker. Disaster. Party, really nice guy, fun. all-star center fielder, Oakland A's. He said, man, I'd love to speak at your Rotary Club. This would be great. I'd love it. Yippee. Contact him. Yeah, man, that sounds great. We talked a couple weeks, a month prior, and then the Tuesday before our Friday meeting morning, oh man, I can't come. My car's got to go in the shop. What? And he said, oh yeah, well, I said, I'll come pick you up. We meet in the morning. Where is it? Told me. I'll pick you up there, 6:30. He said, oh man, but I got to get back. I said, no, I'll drive you back. Oh man, no. And I could tell right then and there, for some reason, he did a U-turn, went out. So we got bopped by Bip Roberts. I knew he could speak. He had to host a TV show. And don't even ask me what Reggie Jackson said to me when I asked him. But remember, some folks, good folks, do cancel. So be relentless. Don't ever give in unless you've got the really good people whom you do trust. You're going to hear all this stuff. Say, get out of my way. Macrame ladies, move out of here. I don't want to hear it. Sometimes you get lucky. I was trying to get Bob Melvin, the manager of the A's, or Billy Bean, got an even better one. He left, it was the director of all scouting. He's the one that writes the checks to bonus people. He had us look at each other saying, should he be telling us this stuff? And he even said, none of you guys are with the Chronicle, are you? Fascinating program. I think it was even better than what Bob Melvin would have done. Finally, the magic words you've all been waiting for, right? The magic words. All right, you know the mindset, right? You got to get the horse before the cart. Okay, snore what you look for and accept nothing less than the snore. Just set your standards, even if you have nobody in the pipeline, adhere to those standards, in my opinion. So, we have a phrase that takes care of everything down south. Do you know what that is? Hear anything? Well, it's a multi-purpose phrase. It's bless your heart. I can say it in response to anything. I can get away with it. For marriage, all you need to know is one phrase. You know what that is? Anybody? Everybody's muted, but.
Yes, dear. Yes, dear.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, dear. Well, there are 3 of them we have to think about with Rotary programs. Yes, dear covers everything, right? Well, these cover everything, almost everything right here. First, be to the point when you're asking a good, notable, exciting speaker, ask them this. As the first part of whether verbally or in your email, I found trial, error, all different fancy ways. This is what works. Very simple. Would you like to speak at our Rotary Club? Okay. On several levels. It tells people we're a Rotary Club, tells them what we're doing. To the point, it shows professionalism when you can do that, and the really good speakers appreciate it. Now here's a question. Do you know why anybody does anything for you, or why do you do anything for anybody else? Why? Because you want to be appreciated. So we say at the end of our initial contact, it would mean so much to us. I've been amazed. This is so effective. Just remember that. And finally, the catch-all, the thing that does it all for all the 90% of the things that are going to happen to you, this is the key right here, the single most important part of a program chair. Be able to say, sorry, schedule's full. But my sister does great macrame. Schedule's full. Sorry. That's it. That save you. Remember, schedule's full, got to have it. So, when you get faced with it, with the position of program chair, it is the most fun thing in the world. Honestly, it is now fun if you look at it this way. It truly is. I have flat out enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite cheap hobbies on the planet. And like to say, the wind and the waves are always on the side of the ablest navigator. That's true. Same with program chair. So whenever you have the urge, whenever you find yourself in the position of choosing your programs, just remember the horse and cart, snore, and the magic words. You've been great. Any random questions, I am here. And
yes, so buddy, we have a
me.
couple questions in the chat box. One, somebody's asking about sharing information about speakers. And I just want to let everybody know that right now we are assembling a list. If you've had a great speaker that you think would be willing to speak at other clubs, please send me the information. I did put my email address in the chat box, so please send me that, and we are accumulating a list right now. They could be Rotary topics, they could not be Rotary topics. Joan from Fairfield Sassoon says that they're having one speaker every month that relates to the Rotary monthly theme. So if you have any speakers like that, please, that you know are good that we can reach out to, please send them my way. Another question from Tina is, Buddy, how do you know if they have good speaking skills if you're just reading about them?
Audition them somehow. Number one, most everybody has a talk of some sort on video, pretty much everyone. I've enjoyed going out and some local ones, I've gone and witnessed them in action before, right? You can find out. And most professors particularly do, but their videos, everything, if you Google them, almost everybody has something. And if they have any experience at all. Yeah. And I will say the Rotary list, that's great. I think you'll be more pleased if you find your own speakers versus trying to grab, I mean, that's great, but keep in mind when you drive it yourself, it's more enjoyable and you probably get better programs.
Well, thank you very, very much, Buddy. This was a great presentation. We really appreciate you being with us today. So take care and thank you very much.
I'm going to hang around and listen to the next few if you don't mind.
Yes. So applause. I'll applaud for all the rest of us. So if you could unshare your screen, please.
Mm-hmm.